Hello friends, welcome back to Mule Academy. In today's section, we are talking about Anypoint Flex Gateway. And in this session, we'll talk about the local mode. So we'll run and register our Anypoint Flex Gateway in local mode. So first, we'll select the Docker option. So we have multiple options available on our option list. So we'll select the Docker. Okay, the easiest one. Second, we'll go with the local mode. So we'll register our Flex Gateway with our Anypoint platform in local mode. Once we enable local mode, we'll manage all our non-Mule APIs independently from our Anypoint control plane. What that means, we won't be able to add API or secure API from our control plane. Okay, so we'll see that we need to create a configuration file where we need to add API, we need to secure our API. So we'll see that how we are going to do that. Okay. Third option for authentication, we'll select connected app. So in my previous session, I have created connected app and I added the scopes here. So one is manage server and read. This is server. And third scope we needed is view org. Fourth option, we'll try to add one or more APIs. This will be a non-Mule APIs definitely to our Flex Gateway. 5, we'll try to secure this API, this Flex Gateway by basic auth, and we'll try to apply the rate limiting policy. And all this will achieve via our declarative configuration, which will be coming as YAML file. So we'll see all these things via YAML file. So let's go ahead and first start registering our Flex Gateway with Anypoint platform in local mode. So to do that, we have selected option called Docker. So we need to install a Docker on our machine. So we need to go to our program files. Once you install it, it will find a Docker desktop Docker over here and start this. Once you start this, you'll be able to see containers, images, nothing will be there. This is my old setup. So we'll clean everything first. So clean everything. Images also delete. Now you can see that this is how your desktop Docker will look like once you start it. So once you launch it. So we have, let's go quickly and let me show you the connected app. So let's go to the connected app, and I have created a connect app in the last session. I'll recommend everyone to please go through those sessions and then come back here. So manage server, read server, and view configuration. I have captured the client ID and client secret of this connected app so that I can use that while running the command. Okay. And quickly I'll show you, these are the two APIs, non-Mule APIs we are going to add. This is request.in API/user/user ID. And this is one more API I have, JSON placeholder typecode.com users/2. Okay, so these two APIs we are going to add in our Flex Gateway, and then we'll secure by basic authentication and we'll apply the rate limiting policy. Okay, so let's look at the commands. So these are same commands which we use for connected mode. Only in the command, I just removed the connected is equal to true. So if you remember the previous sessions, we have just extra this part. If I remove this, same registration will go for local mode. So instead of running these two commands, I'll combine this command. Okay. And so let's go ahead and create a new folder first. So let's go to our Flex Gateway folder where connected mode was there. Now we have local mode. From this local mode, we'll start command line. So let's start the command line. Let's keep it here. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not going to run this command. I'm just going and running this command. So if you look at this command, what we are doing here, we are doing registration using this image, Flex Gateway image, with this client ID and client secret under this environment, under this business group. Okay, and the name of Flex Gateway is my FGW local 06. Let's go ahead and run this command. So if that Flex Gateway image is not there, it will automatically download it for us. Go ahead, trigger this and enter. So first line, if you see here, it says that I'm unable to find the image. So it will download it automatically for us. The image is close to 100 MB. It will download it. And in the folder, we'll be able to see the registration.yaml file. Once we see that registration.yaml file, that means our Flex Gateway is registered with our Anypoint platform in local mode by using connected apps. Okay, it's extracting now. Pull is complete. Now downloaded new image. Now starting the registration. You can see the registration.yaml file got created here and it's registered. Okay, successfully. Okay, let's see, is there anything visible in our runtime manager? Let's refresh it. No, all those three entries which we have seen right now, those are from my previous sessions. Okay, so nothing related to the local here. Let's go ahead quickly. Now let's start our replica. Okay, so let's go ahead and run. So starting replica is exactly similar to the connected mode. Okay, nothing new over here. Go ahead, we'll copy this and run from the same folder where we have registration.yaml file. So this will start. It started reading that config file. And let me quickly show you what will be there in the registration.yaml file. It is exactly similar to that connected app, connected mode registration file. Here you will see that in which region automatically it's getting connected, registered. And this is the name of my asset, which is my Flex Gateway. And these are all, so if you remember, if you don't mention in the command, if I don't mention the anypoint URL, that means it will try to connect US control plane. If you want to connect Europe control plane, then we need to add one more property here called anypoint dot URL equal to, then that https:// and then our eu1.anypoint.mulesoft.com. But we don't want to connect there. We are okay. We are happy with US control plane. Let me save all these changes. Okay, so my replica is also ready. Now, if you check our containers, yes, our Flex Gateway is running on 8081 and we forward the request to 8081. Image, this is the latest image. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Now we want to add the APIs to this particular Flex Gateway. How we'll do that? Okay. So destination file, let me close this. We need to create a YAML file. Okay. So format is very simple. Okay. So let me first bring the format. So you can have format something like this. Something like this. Okay. So we need to give, so this will be a API instance kind metadata. whatever name you want to give here. And then you need to tell where your Flex Gateway is running. Okay, so our Flex Gateway is running on 8081 port. Okay, now you need to tell what all APIs you wanted to add. So we are going to add, I'm adding JSON API here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and give the URL. So let's go ahead and get that URL from our, so this is the API we are going to add. So we'll add till here. We are not going to add complete URL. So we'll go ahead and add this part. Go to over here and I'll say this one, Control V. That's it. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll say, so in metadata, whatever name you want to pass, you can pass it. Okay. So right now we'll pass a generic name, something like config right now. Okay. Because it's not specific to any product or something like that. Okay. So it's, yeah. So now we need to save this file as a YAML file. So we'll try to save this file in the local mode, wherever our registration and from wherever we are running the commands. So here we'll say, you can give whatever name you want. I'm just giving config.yaml. Okay, once you save this, our command line automatically refresh that. You can see here, it's refreshing. Let me maximize it. So you see here, adding service. Okay, and you see the path is dot star. I'll talk about this path. It will create a lot of problems if I add one more API. I'll show you that. Okay, so right now we are adding JSON API. So let's go ahead and now it's added. So let's go ahead and try to run from our Postman. So let's go ahead and say our HTTP and users. Let's go ahead and say triggered. I'm able to see the output. I can go ahead and change this to 5. I'll be able to get the, yeah. If you want to change this URL, if I want to add any, yeah. So right now, as I mentioned, right, if you look at the logs over here, the default path is at dot star, right? If you want to change this, if you want to pass the root, right now, this is the default thing added. Okay, this default generally creates a problem. So we'll fix this. Okay, so in our config.yaml file, we'll go ahead and we'll add the roots over here. So simply I'll say go down and I'll say, and try to follow the YAML form syntax. So roots colon and then hyphen rules generally I prefer the tab, which gives me a proper we'll see. I'm right now using space colon, and here we can give a path. So I will say API and we can give a regular expression. So after API dot instead of, okay, so forward slash dot, okay, and start, finish it. Okay, once we save this, so instead of taking default path, which was here dot and star, now let's save this. It's saved. Now if I go ahead and say enter, you'll be able to see now path you see here, it's API. And then after that, now can I go ahead and use the same URL? No, I won't be able to. Okay, it will take some time, but see now, not found. So now I need to add here API. Okay, so let's go ahead and if I say, I'll be able to see the result, same API. Now let's go ahead and try to get the user 10. Let's see. Yeah, they're able to see. Now, let's go ahead and try to add new API. So let's go ahead and copy paste this path. Okay, Control C. And Control V, and instead of this, the second URL of our API, this API also we are going to access, right? So I'll just go ahead and copy till here, Control C, come back here, and just try to give it Control V. Now we'll see this path also it's saying API, this path also saying API. Let's see what happens. Okay. And instead of JSON, what we'll say this is user API. Okay, save everything. The moment I save, it will automatically refresh our Flex. So now if you see now, adding service, so you can see that this is our Flex Gateway. This is our first service. This is our second service. Now let's see what happens. Okay. Now let's go to the same URL. Try to trigger this URL. It's coming. Okay. And now API. See, because what happens, the second URL was actually having this resource path. Okay. So it's not reaching this guy. So if I looking for 10 right here, see what is this? Byron fields. If I see here, it's always hitting the first API and it's giving me the output from the first API. Second APIs we are not able to access. Okay. Now what we can do, we'll go ahead and we'll do a little change over here. So we'll say that, okay, boss, go here. This is, we'll say JSON API, and this one will say user API. Now let's see what happens. Okay. So now we are differentiating. Okay. Your path is JSON API and this API path is user API. After that, whatever you have, you can go ahead and add it. Okay. So let's save this. It will take little time. Let's see. Enter. So now JSON API, user API. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Now can I access this? No, it won't work. Okay. It will say still it's taking time. Yeah, not found. Now here I say JSON API. So it will trigger first API. Yes. Now if I say user API, what will happen? Let's see. User API. No data because our resource path also has API in it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add that API. Now see, we are able to see proper output. So now we can differentiate between these two two APIs by adding the path. Okay, we are happy now. So everything is working fine. Now, as per our requirement, initially we decided to apply the basic authentication. So we'll go ahead and apply the basic authentication now. So we have the syntax. So we'll follow the syntax from the documentation. So I'm referring the mulesoft documentation itself. So we'll go ahead here. And again, we need to follow the ML syntax. So I'm saying policies and HTTP basic authentication. All the policies from the API manager are not available for the Flex Gateway. Few policies are available. And one of them is basic authentication. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll pass admin as a user and password also as a admin. Now let's save this. It will take some time. Okay. So my file is saved now. See here, the basic authentication is applied now. So we have applied the policies now. Now I have two APIs. Now let's go ahead to the Postman and try to access it. It will take some time. Yeah, see now, authentication, basic authentication. So we'll go ahead to our authorization section here and we'll go ahead and we'll say admin. Now, if I try it, I'll be able to access this. And if I remove the API from here, and okay, what I'll do is I'll just Control Z, JSON API. The first API will get triggered. Yes, if I remove this basic authentication, if I say no auth, see error. So that means authentication is required for both. Okay. So now we'll go ahead, say basic auth. We'll be able to trigger this. Both APIs are accessible. Now I can go ahead and trigger these APIs n number of times, right? Now let's go ahead and apply the rate limiting so that we can safeguard our downstream APIs. So let's go ahead and apply the one more policy called rate limiting. So for that also, I'll be referring the MuleSoft documentation. So let's go ahead and add one more policy reference over here. After this, home Control V. Now rate limiting, and at the end, the suffix is there flex. That means this is a flex policy. Configure, we are exposing headers here, and rate limit maximum request, this one. I'll try to add one more 0 here so that I can manually show everyone. Okay. So maximum request. Let's save this, Control S, and let's wait for some time. Okay. Let's wait for some time. So the second policy also applied over here. It shows, but it takes some time so that, you know, it's get applied on the flex. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at we'll try to apply one, and let's see the header if it is applied. I don't see it's applied because otherwise those headers, rate limiting headers are not coming. So let's just same. Yeah, now you can see that rate limit is 5. We are done with 4. Okay, so let's go ahead. 2, 3, 4, 5, and you will see the error now. Okay, so if you go to the body, too many requests. Okay, so now here headers, you'll be able to see the headers. So it's 0, rate limit 5, and it will get reset after some time. Okay, so once if you see, it will show the time here. Once this becomes 0, this will become remaining, and this is already a limit. Okay, let me check quickly what happens to the other API. So this limit is applied on that also. Yes, let me go to the user API, an API. So right now the rate limit is still not at reset. So this is getting applied at flex level. So whatever APIs you have added, those APIs will get this, they will be sharing this rate limit. Okay. So all the APIs, they'll be sharing this rate limit. So they will be able to only access 5 times. You take any API from there, that list. Okay. So that's all from this session, guys. We are able to add the multiple APIs. We are able to differentiate between those two multiple APIs. We are able to apply the basic authentication. We are able to apply the rate limiting. Okay, hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. I'll recommend everyone to please go ahead, subscribe the channel, hit the like button, hit the bell icon so that you'll get notification to the upcoming videos. Thank you.